Hey guys, Annie Figure Therapy here today, and we have kind of a different figure from what I usually buy. I kind of have a policy about Hatsune Miku figures where it has to be really nice looking for me to get it, just because every year there has to be at least like 50 Hatsune Miku scale figures that are released, and that's a lot of figures for one character. Given that Hatsune Miku is one of probably the most popular characters in all of Japanese history, like anime wise, but yeah, it's really interesting. So when I saw this, it really caught my eye at first, and I liked it a lot, but I didn't really think about getting it until I had this big order from HLJ, and I was gonna ship everything, and then I saw this on sale for like $180, and I was like, that's not too bad considering the original MSRP was like around $240. That's like a $60 off thing, but yeah, so I did end up getting it. But for those of you who don't know, this is the Digital Stars, or Hobby Stock 1/7 Digital Stars Hatsune Miku from the Miku Expo 2020. So what is Digital Stars? So Digital Stars is like a sub expo, I guess, of the Miku Expo that they hold. I'm pretty sure they hold it every year. But yeah, so Digital Stars is like kind of like this mini Miku Expo that is held at different locations. There's actually been a couple in the US, like I think 2017 might have been in Seattle, but they've had it going for a little while now. But it has been in like Los Angeles, Seattle, and other places around the world. So it is an international exhibit. So that's actually pretty neat. I didn't know about that beforehand, but this figure really did catch my eye just because it's so unique, and you can go ahead and check it out later. But you can kind of see the illustration right here, right off the bat. It's such a different look for Miku. It kind of reminds me of that music video she did with Lady Gaga. There was a very cool animation style to that. But yeah, so Hobby Stock has kind of brought that to life here. Hobby Stock in and of itself, I'm not too sure. I haven't bought much Hobby Stock stuff just because most of the time it's a little bit pricey. But so granted, I can't say much about the quality right now, but let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. So the box itself is really nice. I like kind of the neon going on. It has kind of like a DJ aesthetic to it, you know, a launch pad sort of thing going on. I do really like the illustration on the back. Yeah, what is it? my katakana reading is kind of rusty, but I'm not even gonna attempt that just because I don't want to seem like an idiot. But yeah, so let's go ahead and pop her open. Now there are two versions of this figure. There is a DX version. The DX version is like limited to certain stores, and the only difference is that it comes with a different kind of base. So the base on this one is a clear base like any other scale figure, and in the DX one it comes with a base that it looks like a DJ turntable, and then also there is like this launchpad pattern on the back as a clear piece of plastic. So yeah. Ooh. Alright, so there is the figure. The inside of the box is kind of self-explanatory on this one, just because it's the regular Miku blue, and then there's just, you know, a bunch of cutouts in it, so that's actually pretty neat. And here's the figure itself. Let's go ahead and do a little chop. Yeah, I actually was I a really big fan of Miku? I think back then I was. Before I really got into anime, I did listen to some Miku songs. I think my favorite old school Miku song is Love Words. That one's like super old. And back then, when I wasn't really that much into anime, I had a friend who convinced me to go to Anime Expo with him because the Miku concert in LA was happening, which was the first time Hatsune Miku had been to the States. So that was probably like one of my most fond memories about Hatsune Miku. But it was actually really fun. I did really like Miku after that. And then she showed up on David Letterman and all sorts of other things. But yeah, so here's the base. This is the normal base. It is, it's very standard looking. You know, you got a plastic peg and then you got a metal rod. But let's take a look at what else she comes with. So besides the figure itself, there's like these little balls of bubble wrap. There is nothing inside of them, which is neat. I think they're just there to support the hair, because the hair on this one is pretty wild, and we'll see that in a second. But look at all this protective stuff. Yeah, take a little But yeah, I mean, like, it's rare that you see statues with this kind of crazy, like, kind of hip-hop style to it. There's not a lot of, like, hip-hop anime characters out there. Like, right off the bat, I can't think of really any, which is just kind of how rare it is, I guess. But, so it is neat to see, like, a character with, like, an oversized jacket and just very, like, modern, like, kind of, like, rave aesthetics. But watch as I very nervously fumble with this. But, yeah, this packaging is a little... It's weird because you do kind of have to, like, force it off of her hair. But her hair is a good amount of springiness where it doesn't feel like it's going to break. But, of course, you know, obviously still exercise caution. But, yeah, wow, that's pretty neat. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. Now, of course, I always do, like, kind of like a B-roll at the end of this just to take a look at some of the closer details. Just because, for some reason, sometimes my camera doesn't like to capture it when it's, like, constantly zooming in and zooming out. So... there is that issue. Let me see if I can just zoom in. Just kidding, we're gonna say that. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and peg her in here so I don't have to mess with that anymore. But before that, let's take a closer look at the bottom of the feet. I do like the foot sculpting underneath here. These are some really nice. They look like Crocs, honestly, just because of how they are. It's like a sandal sneaker combination. Also, she is wearing kind of like training pants underneath, which is cool. And she kind of has like a sporty look to her, which is very interesting. I like that. Hatsune Miku has like the best outfits. Honestly, like when I think of like characters that people go wild on in terms of art, it's always been Miku, just because like I think everyone has drawn a Miku thing before. It's like Sailor Moon. Alright, so right off the bat, I'm trying to fit this peg in there, and it's a little scary because most of the time when you're dealing with clear materials, they are brittle, so they won't be as strong as, say, like a solid plastic. That being said, oh, there we go. Okay, so it did take a little bit of wiggling. I was a little bit nervous because I didn't want to break it. But yeah, the figure itself has a pretty good amount of weight to it. I like it a lot. What's also cool is that the texture. One thing that caught me kind of off guard is the texture on her legs is really nice. It's like when you have those quality figures, and you can definitely feel the quality by the different texturing on the skin. So it's apparent all across her body. So on her chest and her abdomen area, her hands have it too. Her pose is pretty awesome. She's kind of got like that DJ pose, I guess. I'm not too sure. I guess that's what DJs do. They just point their hands to the sky and hold their headphones. I do really like the jacket on this. It's a really nice, big, oversized jacket. Kind of very, you know, like nowadays a lot of people just like to wear like puffy clothes with like tight clothes underneath. That's a rave lifestyle, I guess. But yeah, let me try to get all these like protective bits off. Okay, there we go. What's nice is that there's a bunch of it, so it does protect all the paint rub that probably might happen during transit. The silver is pretty good. Usually with silver stuff, you get a lot of like swirlies, or you know, places where it might get a little bit like not well painted. But as far as I can tell, it's pretty neat. The zipper is really clean. There's a really cool like Miku zipper head right there. Oh man, like her expression is awesome. The little squares on her head, her little headbands have the words Miku Expo on it. And yeah, all these ribbons, they actually are her hair. That's kind of cool. So her hair is these ribbons, and then like these are all sorts of crazy. Like they almost feel like just like toothpicks, or like they're just so like spidery. But it's cool though, because it's just so unique. Like it's rare to see a figure with such like wild style to it. There's definitely like a lot of different angles going on, a lot of different places where your eye will just catch. What's also cool is like, you know, all these ribbons right here actually make like a little heart shape. It's like very hidden Mickey. The jacket itself has some great shading on it. You can kind of tell on the sides, and even on the inside of her hand. You can, if you look deep enough, you can see like the block where it doesn't become an arm anymore. It just becomes like a solid piece of PVC, but that's still pretty cool. And then also just like how her hands hold the headphones right here is actually pretty well sculpted as well. But yeah, so overall, what a nice figure. All right, I guess like let's go into like the more detailed stuff. But so like I said earlier, the original price for this was like a weird number. It was like 23,650 yen, and that's like strange. And then the DX one was about like $30 more, so 26 or 27 basically. And both are offered on the Hobby Stock website, which ships internationally, which is great. So you do have that option. Or like I said, you could just go to HLJ and get it for like $180, which is a lot cheaper. Compared to its MSRP price. Now, of course, I don't even know if they still have it up, because when I bought it, they only had like 3 of them, and I guess if I bought one, and you know, it was on the front page, so I'm pretty sure somebody might have bought the other one, and then there's probably one left. But of course, that's all timing wise. Now, is it worth? Okay, let's just like put it at a scale. So at $180, what do you usually get with figures? Now, when you usually think of $180, you're kind of closing in on the Alter range. You know, there's a lot of good figures out there for like $180 price point. I think like right now, like, you know, some Mega House stuff is around $180, so that's pretty okay. Now, paint wise, I do think it's worth it, because just how well the silver paint is done. Silver paint is really tricky on figures. That's always been kind of a weird thing. If they muck it up, you can definitely tell it's more like ugly if you see ugly silver paint. This one's pretty good. The sculpting on the hair is pretty amazing as well. Like I said, there's a natural springiness to it, so you can kind of see how it flexes, but it doesn't actually break, which is cool. And then there is a kind of a shading effect that is on the hair as well. So there is a good amount of painting done here, which is awesome. The sculpt itself is really interesting. You probably won't find another figure like this, honestly, in terms of just its aesthetic. But yeah. So that being said, if you want another nice Miku figure, because I feel like most of the time people who would buy this figure already own more nice Miku figures, then this would definitely be a nice addition. Definitely more so than any of like the Snow Miku stuff, or you know, like, yeah, basically the Snow Miku stuff. And because those are like, to be honest, at a certain point they all look kind of similar, or you know, that's kind of like a set that you could just collect forever, or like the Racing Miku stuff. That's why you should always kind of go for the more like different style Miku stuff. Like for example, this one, or like a classic one would be the World's Greatest Idol Miku, which was like the album for the Michi M cover, and then also like the Romeo and Cinderella, Romeo and Cinderella, the Deep Sea Diva. Like those Mikus are always going to be interesting, just because they're from like an iconic time in Miku history. So this one, that being said, I don't know what's going on with current Miku history, so I can't give you like a definite like, oh yeah, this is from the 2020 era, or sorry, 2021 era of Miku music. Yeah, but of course it's still a really nice figure. It has a good amount of shelf space. The presence is awesome. Would I recommend it at $180? I say go for it, but you do have to pay for shipping, which is going to be a little tricky. At about like $250, which is like kind of going rate right now, I'd say that's still okay. That's kind of at that breaking point of 200. You kind of have to figure out, do I really like Miku that much, or will a better Miku figure come out? So that being said, if you're a big fan of Miku, I'd highly recommend looking into Black Rock Shooter, just because Black Rock Shooter and Miku, they don't share the same aesthetics, but you know, Black Rock Shooter is just basically black-haired Miku. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time when I have more figure stuff to show off. Right now, I just have a lot of model kit stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys.